Last night, Microsoft Surface reinforced their status as the world's best hinge company. They launched 8 new products across a huge range at their major launch event, a forerunner to the release of Windows 11. Did we get what we wanted? Did we get what we expected? Well, yes and no to both. The event mostly delivered on the rumours and what was already expected. There were no wild surprises, and it turns out that my speculations were just that. That said, today there's a lot of detail coming through, and I'm pretty excited about the products that were announced. This video will be a quick recap, and we'll go into a couple of these products in more detail over the coming days. The products announced last night were the Surface Pro 8, the Surface Slim Pen 2, a minor update to the Surface Pro X, actually that one kind of slipped through and was mentioned after the fact, the Surface Go 3, Surface Adaptive Kit, Ocean's Plastic Mouse, Surface Laptop Studio, and my personal favourite, the Surface Duo 2. So here's a quick recap with some key points. First up, the Surface Pro 8 got some rounded corners to match the design of Windows 11 and the Surface Pro X. The screen grew to 13 inches and the bezel shrank. It basically now matches the design of the Surface Pro X, incorporating the Pro X typecover keyboard design with its built-in charging pen stowage. There's a newer, more compact kickstand hinge. Actually, I'm not even sure that it was shown in the videos this time. As expected, the Pro 8 is a bit thicker than the very slim Pro X. Compared to the Pro 7, the Pro 8 has a much bigger battery and better battery life. Not much of an upgrade over the Pro 7 Plus though. There are much better speakers with Dolby Atmos sound, an upgraded 10 megapixel back camera with 4K video, and new AI capabilities for the highly regarded front webcam. Windows Hello will be faster, and most importantly, the Surface Pro range finally has Thunderbolt. This will be a huge upgrade that will open up the Surface Pro for some amazing capabilities that we'll talk about in our detailed review. There'll be 4G options now right across the range, at least through commercial channels. LTE is no longer limited to just i5s, but it can now be found in i3 and i7 variants for the first time ever, which is great news. The Pro 8 display got a lot of attention with its adaptive 120Hz refresh rate, Dolby Vision, and adaptive color. It also got brighter, or darker if you need it to be, than it ever was before. That 120Hz display and the new 6th generation G6 pen interface chip bring a lot of pen improvements that should make for a great pen experience alongside of the new Surface Slim Pen 2. The new pen incorporates a haptic motor that's tuned to deliver the feel of textures when you're drawing or writing. Surface have indicated a lower activation force, a pointier tip, and better responsiveness, which should be interesting for artists and creators. As with the Pro X, this pen will stow away securely and charge in the keyboard, which can be purchased as a kit with the new pen. There's so much more to say about the Surface Pro 8, so I'm going to do another video on that shortly. As mentioned, the Surface Pro X got a minor upgrade, or downgrade, depending on how you look at it. It'll now ship with Windows 11 and 64-bit emulation out of the box. It'll be available without LTE, Wi-Fi only, bringing the price down about $100 for the entry level. Apart from that, there are no other significant changes for the Pro X and no SQ3 processor, at least not yet. The Surface Go 3 did get some new processors, moving along to the 10th generation Intel Pentium and i3. These will both be significant upgrades over the existing options. There is sadly no ARM processor option and no other major changes to the line. It still uses the current generation regular Surface Pen, and it still attaches magnetically to the side. However, the Surface Go remains one of the most versatile, low-cost 2-in-1 device options available today. At this point in the announcement, Microsoft drew attention to accessibility. This is a cause that I believe is just as important as sustainability. In fact, I did a talk to the worldwide M365 May conference last year called 10 Everyday Accessibility Features in Office 365 that everyone can use. Link below. The Surface Adaptive Kit was announced. Effectively, it's a clever assistive sticker kit that allows people with disabilities to manipulate and navigate their Surface devices, or any device for that matter. There are keyboard stickers, markers for ports, and even a sticker that allows you to add a lanyard to the kickstand, making the device much easier to set up. I'm sure that there are plenty of companies out there producing these sorts of simple assistive enhancements for laptops, but by featuring it in this event, Microsoft have once again brought great focus to accessibility and inclusion, just like they did with the Xbox Adaptive Controller. Now, as Microsoft's Dave Dame rightly pointed out, we should all care about accessibility because even if we don't need to worry about it now, you absolutely will at some point in your life. Next up was sustainability, rounding out the two issues that I think should be featured at every tech event. Microsoft unveiled the Toyota Prius of the computing world, the Ocean's plastic mouse. A rather nondescript Bluetooth mouse made with 20% recycled plastic recovered from the ocean. It comes in a plastic-free, fully recyclable box. It's a statement piece, no doubt, and a good one at that. I personally won't order one because I don't need an extra mouse and it'll save on waste. Next came the interesting Surface Studio laptop that is most likely the next generation of the Surface Book. As expected, it looks like a laptop, but it features a funky new hinge design that allows the screen to pivot forward into 3 different postures. Granted, this concept isn't exactly new. Acer have been playing with this for years, but it is no doubt an interesting option for people who need a high-performance laptop and are dabbling with pen and touch input. This new device has a 120Hz 14.4-inch screen, almost as big as that magnificent 15-inch Surface Book 3 screen. Oddly though, the Surface Laptop Studio has a lower resolution display than the Surface Pro 8 at 2400 by 1600. Like the Pro 8, it has Thunderbolt 4 and it supports the new Slim Pen with haptic feedback. There's a little ledge around the device and the Slim Pen will magnetically attach underneath it and charge itself right there. The webcam also appears to be the same upgraded webcam from the Pro 8 with a faster Windows Hello recognition, new AI enhancements and 1080p video. Dual studio mics are standard to all Surface devices now as well, and that's something that Surface have been doing since before anybody realized how important it was to have good quality microphones on a laptop. Unlike the Pro 8, this laptop studio will have options for higher spec i5 and i7 quad-core processors and some nice dedicated GPU options from NVIDIA. It'll also get up to 2 TB of storage. The new design will better accommodate the thermal needs of a high-performance package like this. We'll bring you more on the Surface Laptop Studio as well over the coming days. The last product announced was the Surface Duo 2, and I'm happy to say that Microsoft are actually sending us one of these to use for long-term review. This is the product that I'm actually most excited about because the dual screen is absolutely the future of mobile devices. Nearly every workflow that you can imagine is hindered by a single small screen, from simply taking a photo to finding a place to eat. Flipping between search results and web pages, maps and other apps, you're constantly dumping things into your memory to move between the apps on a mobile device. A dual screen device has the potential to make you a lot more effective with simple and complex tasks. I'm kind of glad that the Surface Duo 1 didn't make it to Australia because, like the first iPhone, from all accounts, this one was pretty undercooked. The Surface Duo 2, on the other hand, appears to have worked out most of the kinks. There's a new high-performance Snapdragon 888 processor, NFC and 5G. There are 4 much better cameras on board and a depth sensor. There's upgraded speakers, dual microphones as we'd expect from the Surface range. The Duo 2 is a flagship phone worthy of the flagship price. Microsoft were at pains to mention the glass on the front and back of both panels. Unlike other plastic screen folding phones, this one is Corning glass all the way. With a small gap, of course. Did I mention the hinge? There's a new curved strip on the inside edge of the display that gives status notifications and feedback, and the gap between the 2 screens has been narrowed. Microsoft is saying that the small gap and the inside edge curve combine to give you a book-like feel when you're using the 2 screens together. The overall dimensions are slightly smaller, and yet the screens are larger. Combine the 2 AMOLED 90Hz screens and you get 8.3 inches of display at 2688 by 1892 pixels. That's as big as an iPad mini, but with way more pixels and way more flexibility. And as you'd expect from Surface, it's arranged in the most usable 3:2 aspect ratio. Oh, and of course, it supports the Surface Pen. Any Surface Pen, including the new Slim Pen 2, which magnetically attaches and charges from the back of the Duo 2. I don't expect to be taking swathes of notes on a device like this, but it is sure handy to have pen input on a phone, as I've discovered over the years with my Galaxy Notes. The 3:2 display will make that pen input a lot more interesting and viable on the Duo 2. As I predicted, multimodal input was a key feature of Microsoft's Surface announcement event. They talked about the importance of keyboard, touchpad, camera, microphone, touch, and pen experiences across all of the devices released at this event. Imagine having a laptop with just a keyboard and a touchpad. Magical. However, unfortunately for me, there was no Studio 3, no Surface Neo, and no Surface displays. At least not for now. Sorry folks, we'll just keep on dreaming. The tech media love to knock Microsoft solutions, while at the same time they fawn over anything that Apple coughs up. And as a result, they won't test any of this stuff in the real world. They'll tinker with it a bit and give their opinions based on some very thin and superficial criteria. So do yourself a favour and forget about them and subscribe to us instead. We'll have a very different focus on these products than the consumeristic sugar hit driven tech media, and we'll bring you the long-term perspective on how these products could be applied to help you to gain real benefit from them. We'll be back soon with our thoughts on the Surface Pro 8, Laptop Studio, and the Duo 2. Don't forget to hit like and tell us what you liked about the Surface event in the comments below.